This is the audiobook version of Hacking Bigfoot, Deconstructing an Unknown Species by Marcus Daly, published in 2025. You can find the table of contents and endnotes with bibliographic source material on the publisher's website. Chapter 1. Bigfootery Explained. You might be asking, who needs another Bigfoot book? Haven't all angles of this unique phenomenon been covered already? There are plenty of Bigfoot books by people who have spent countless hours pondering the subject. There are plenty of podcasts and plaster footprint casts, documentaries, reality shows, and social media clutter. As a topic, Bigfoot has been hammered beyond recognition as whimsical nonsense and a commercialized exploitation business. Only dedicated Bigfooters have the ability to continue to believe in Bigfoot. Exploring Bigfootery is part of what this book is about. Another part strives to reach an understanding of how such an unusual species could potentially be a product of uncanny evolutionary success. Of course, there is going to be bias directed towards Bigfoot. Despite the naysaying, there is a steadfast belief that Bigfoot legitimately exists as a flesh and blood creature unknown to today's science. This book takes the position that the proposed legitimate unknown bipedal species is separate from our Homo sapiens genus. The mystery species has stubborn secrets that have always remained elusive to an inquisitive humanity. That's been the consistent road leading to the world of Bigfootery, a wide-spanning effort to decipher the phenomena in a personalized way. There are as many forms of Bigfootery as there are unique people who have immersed themselves in the pursuit of answers. A long trail of amateur sleuths has built an accretion of perspectives over the years, including experiences, theories, field investigation practices, analysis, historical details, mythology, folklore, anecdotes, and interpretations of science. Bigfoot is a hot-button issue for some people who only want to consider foolproof evidence. It's completely understandable why. The subject of Bigfoot doesn't have much credibility outside of a small class of dedicated Bigfooters. In fact, Bigfoot is one of the few recognizable terms across world cultures to actually earn its own subcategory of pseudoscience. Even using the term Bigfoot is controversial. For what it's worth, Bigfoot is used in these pages as a convenient descriptor understood across languages, not as a derogatory or exploitative label. Even naysayers would have to acknowledge how deep in prehistory Bigfoot-like beings have existed. Strong clues of hairy wild people can be traced to the most ancient of worldwide indigenous folklore that has survived the test of time, all with its own regional and cultural influences. The folklore is based on alleged eyewitness accounts across centuries that form shared patterns. It speaks of Bigfoot as a certainty. Some indigenous folklore even muses whether the unknown species was a remnant of their origins from a distant past. The reason we are familiar with Bigfoot at all is because the unknown species can't help themselves from observing humans when they inadvertently venture into their habitat. They show curiosity with humans but will typically stay out of range, providing a limited opportunity to observe them in return. When they are seen, it is usually a random, fleeting glimpse of something bipedal. The tone of encounters ranges from friendly to hostile interactions. The fleeting glimpses make such strong impressions that they last a lifetime. A cornerstone to cryptozoology enthusiasts of modern generations is a 1972 film, The Legend of Boggy Creek. As a testament to its popularity, the film was still playing in North American movie theaters in the 1980s. The documentary focuses on an aggressive, Bigfoot-like creature known to terrorize human domiciles in the Arkansas swamplands. The similar geography of nearby Missouri is home to the same phenomenon known as Momo, which is the same as the skunk ape, booger, and old mossyback in other regions of the southern United States. It is consistently described as almost fully covered in body hair, bipedal or sometimes quadrupedal or even arboreal. Their trademark skills are stealth and agility in any remote habitat, such as swamps, wilderness, and steep terrain. Some of the beings are described as abnormally large. Others are medium-sized, even slender or small in stature. Put into context, the notion of a cryptid surviving in the conditions of a swamp actually makes good sense. There are plenty of food sources like plants, insects, reptiles, and other animals. 50,000 years ago, when sea levels were much lower than they are today, the southern United States was mostly forest and swampland. That's a long time for theoretically prehistoric species to adapt. North American swamp monsters get their share of attention, but there are other American varieties of the same unknown species. The Sisamito of Mexico and Central America, the Mapinguari of Brazil, and the Ucumar of Argentina all have similar behavioral patterns and reputations as their counterparts in the United States and Canada. Little Bigfoot shows up prominently in the living folklore of Southeast Asia as feral mini-beings said to be around 3 to 4 feet in height, with long, muscular, strong arms, usually mistaken for an upright walking orangutan or gibbon. There is the well-known orang pendek of Sumatra, the lesser-known Yawa, and Hantu Jarangiji, also of the jungles in the Malay archipelago. There is the Nitewo of Sri Lanka, the Tek Tek of Cambodia, the Nguoi Rung and Batutut of Vietnam, the Jangsan Boom of Korea, and the Hibagon of Japan. The Mande Burung of India, also known as the Monkey Man, has generated more mass hysteria than it has actual acts of mayhem. There's even a Singaporean version of the Monkey Man. Many indigenous versions also span across Oceania. The Yowie and Dulaga of Australia and the Yeti of the Himalayas are well known as the larger variety. There is also the Yeren of China, the Migoi and Meechum of Bhutan, and the Piyar, Tehelma, Mite, and Dzute of Tibet and Sikkim. In the Siberian Urals, snowman is the generic description for many derivative names known to indigenous Finno-Ugrian, Chuvash, and Turkic-Mongol peoples. An 18th century painting in Mongolia is the oldest known Almaz iconography. If you were to ask Bigfoot his or her opinion, they would likely remain unfazed by their many nicknames and comparisons to ancient world folklore. Likewise, our approaches to understanding what Bigfoot is and our denials and judgments of its presumed existence are unlikely to make an impression on them. That's why Bigfoot believers, knowers, skeptics, and detractors are so stubborn in their views. They all share a common mission to find ways of evading Bigfoot's dismissive defenses and finding something extraordinarily tangible. That way, the mystery can finally be solved, and everyone's respective Bigfootery addiction can be broken.